My open rate is probably, 60 to 70%. But each time I'm sending that email, I'm getting 10 to 15 responses of people being like, wait, this information is great, very clever. And you're now in my contacts because if I have somebody that is considering moving out to the East Bay, the areas that you work, I'll reach out.
If you want to send an email to an agent and you do not want them to open it, make sure you put in the subject line open house or just listed.
I've been in the business for 10 years. Um, and this agent has also been in the business for a while. Met him on, several occasions. He showed up to my listing and he shook my hand and he said, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. I don't think we've ever met before."
Well,
And that just totally lit the fire under me.
have you ever sent an email campaign and it just completely bombed? Either you got no one to open it, or even worse, everybody was unsubscribing from it? If so, then this episode is for you. Today, I sit down with Blake Fahey, and he talks about his specific strategies that have bumped up his open rate incredibly, and more specifically, what subject lines he's using, and he unpacks a whole bunch of secrets behind that. Additionally, his marketing, which is brilliant, it goes specifically to agents in his referral markets. So stay tuned for that. This episode and many of the past episodes have been sponsored by my friend Andy Bovender. He's the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have helped more than 5,000 families. So if you have that client who's been thinking about making a move to or from the Carolinas, they are the team to call. In this episode, there's a mini commercial for Ace Your Day deck. It's a deck that Susie Adamson and I created to help agents clear out the clutter in their head and take really clear, hyper specific actions to move their business forward. So if you want to learn more about that, click the link in the description below. And as always, I'm your host and referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Conkler. All right, Blake, what's the biggest mistake you've made when marketing to your hyper local agents?
Wow, that's a great question. The biggest mistake that I have made when marketing to my hyperlocal agents is going just too baseline, and more of like a let's call it a targeted mass marketing scheme rather than a personal
Mm.
touch.
Say more about that.
So through Compass, we have a fantastic platform, and we have the opportunity to send out marketing emails. Um, they're more geared towards if you have a listing, you send out an email and say, a mass email and say, just listed
Yeah.
of sentences.
Yeah.
Um, And when I decided that I wanted to start marketing to out of my where I'm from,
Yeah.
to get more referrals, I took that and I put it into the bigger marketing platform and I started sending
Mm.
out emails to people. And it was not specific in the sense of it doesn't, say, "Hi, Sean."
Mm.
It says it's just a just, like
Yeah.
it's
It's funny if you want to send an email to an agent and you do not want them to open it, make sure you put in the subject line open house or just listed.
right.
It's the
Exactly.
easiest way to get deleted and
Exactly.
probably an unsubscribe by far. And more so, this is me being a total smartass. Make sure you send it to another state. So
Yeah.
like, hey, just listed in Ohio and we're open this weekend. Like that's an awesome way to get an unsubscribe.
It's so funny, you saying that because for whatever reason, recently, I've been getting a lot of emails from Texas agents,
Yeah.
and it's like a just listed, and I'm like, I mean, that's great. I love seeing your information,
Yeah.
and I'll take some of your information and use it for my own pieces.
Yeah.
Um, but, it's I don't have anything for you. I'm so sorry. Maybe, focus your resources on, your more specific people,
Uh,
more specific location.
and I think that's the if we view this as resources and we view the agents that we're sending them to as resources, and we actually I think it's always important is measure it against yourself. Like, how do I receive this? How would I perceive this thing? Would I take action on this? And I just don't think people do that. Like, I don't think that filter happens. Of we do lazy shotgun approaches and we get lazy, erratic quality out of the back end.
Totally, and the thing that, the reason that I started with the bigger marketing, aspect of going through the Compass platform
Yeah.
was because it was just easier. It
Yeah.
created the information for me, and I could take it and I could grab a list of people and I could send that email out within minutes.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because I was actually getting fairly decent open rates. I would get like 60% open rates, no responses. I don't think I ever got one response when I was sending out those emails. And
Really?
I was sending it out to the same list of people.
Yeah.
And then when I was sitting in a meeting and our marketing people were talking about um, outreach, and they're like, you have to have something more that's going to get people to engage. It's
Mhm.
not the open rate. The open rate's great,
Yeah.
and that's people seeing it, but it's the clicks, it's the engagement that
Yeah.
is going to give you more benefit. That's gonna turn the needle. That's gonna make it worth your time. And so I took that and I shifted and I was like, okay, we have awesome resources,
Mhm.
aka AI. How can I bring that into the picture?
Yeah.
Um, and how can I make it so people are going to open my emails?
Yeah.
So I took that and I did more of like a personal message,
Yeah.
and I started sending that out. And I mean, this is a question for you. What reason? And I sent this email, and the reason that I'm here today is
Yeah.
an email, a marketing email that I sent. For what reason was it that you opened it, that you responded to it and engaged with it?
That's a great question. I'm actually gonna pull up the email and I'll literally look at it and tell you, but that's how we met, is you're in a feeder market of San Francisco, and I got your email that said, and this is hyper specific, a BART ride, basically a BART ride to SF,
Hmm.
and BART is our mass transit. And so, like, that's hyper specific, that's very local, and
Hmm.
it it scratched the record, right? It cut through the noise. It wasn't like referral partner.
Right.
It was different. And then I'm looking at the email now. We had 10 email exchanges
Yeah.
from that. And then your email was just it was short, it was succinct, and I wrote to you, my email response to you was like, "Hey, clever email."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you cut through all the BS, all the noise, and to lean on your point, the open rate is great. Like 60% is great. I think an average open rate for a newsletter is like a 35 to 45,
Hmm.
roughly. I would venture to say real estate agents are awful spam offenders, so theirs are probably lower.
Work.
So if you're at a 60, phenomenal. And also hats off for knowing your numbers, because if you can't measure it, you can't grow it.
Totally.
Um, and so I lost where I was going with that, but it was a really great point.
Yeah, and I think Yeah, it's we got a million things going on in our brain. But I think something important for people to know is I, I just lost where I was going with that as well.
Yeah.
That it'll come back to me. But something for something important for people to know. When I was sending those original emails, it's back. We're back.
Yeah.
Um, the open rates, when I was talking to the marketing people as well, I asked them two specific questions. I said, "What is a good open rate?"
Yep.
But at the same time, like, what is a good click rate, or like, what's a good response rate?
Yeah.
They had an easier answer for the open rate, and they're like, if you're getting 30 to 50%, that's good.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a few clicks and responses, then that's also good.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, okay, well, I'm getting a good open rate. Um, the emails that I'm sending you now, so I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing. I have it's an action plan. I created 3 emails. They're all more or less the same message.
Yep.
Um, and they go out every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's, hi, Sean. Um, you may not know this, but Bart is 5 minutes from, or there's a Bart in Lafayette, there's a Bart in Orinda, very conveniently located. And from Bart Station to the financial district in San Francisco, 45-minute ride.
Yeah.
And that's my draw. It's like, that's all that I want somebody to hear.
Yeah.
When I'm sending these emails, my open rate is probably, 60 to 70%. But each time I'm sending that email, I'm getting 10 to 15 responses of people being like, wait, this information is great, very clever. And you're now in my contacts because if I have somebody that is considering moving out to the East Bay, the areas that you work, I'll reach out.
100%. And that's exactly the interaction you and I had. And
Yeah.
and I really like, and I hope people use this, is most people don't know this frame is,
Mm-hmm.
hey, most people don't know this, but
Right.
XYZ is only 15 minutes away, or whatever it is, but it's soundbite, it's memorable, and it's you're bringing value, you're educating. Like, if an agent lives and breathes in San Francisco, they don't always associate, and we have clients moving in and out of the area. If you look at most areas from just a demographic perspective, most people are staying within proximity when they move,
Right.
right?
Right.
But they're just moving far enough where you might need a different agent because it's a different specialty within that market. Like you and I, we're not geographically far apart, but it's a different contract, it's different statutory requirements, it's a different beast, like different school district, different everything. And so I'm going to rely on somebody who's the expert in that area. And the easiest way to show up as that expert is to provide information to somebody who normally wouldn't know that thing. And and again, if you look at, which you did, and I think this is really important, is what would be helpful for that agent that they can remember and use while they're in the field. And
Absolutely.
it's like this like hyper distilled, the BART stop is only blank, and it's like it's super clear and grabby, it's memorable. The art of writing good copy, and this is like something that I've always tried to remember. The art of good copy, the goal is to get the person to read the next sentence.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the goal. And so
Mhm.
you should have one clear action, not 25 hyperlinks. And it's like, it's going to take them the next afternoon to get through your entire thread. We get those from corporate and they're just like absurd. There's like 10 different hyperlinks, 4 different actions. It's like, if I just conversationally, like if you have a child, let's say, who's 5 years old, and you
Mhm.
say, "Hey, little Timmy, Go down the hall, put your toys away, get a glass of water, bring it over here, do this, let the dog out. What do you think the kid's gonna do?
Yeah, one of those things.
Maybe, if you're lucky. But if
Right.
you just said, "Hey, Timmy, pick up that toy." Done. It's clear. And that's like with marketing, ask for one thing. Like if you want them to click like the CTR, the click through rate, be really clear with that one ask and not 25 different asks. And
Right.
and that's like another thing that just drives me bonkers when I read emails and it's like and go back, like, look at not you, but people listening, like, look at a really crappy email that you get from, like, a lender or an escrow officer, and there's, like it's, like, 25 different rates, 4 different programs, like, it's 4 paragraphs long, there's 4 different things that it's asking you to do, and what do? You gridlock, you get overwhelmed, you're like, "You know what? I'll go back to this later." You don't,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you dismiss it, or you delete it, or the worst thing that you can ever happen to your email list is somebody unsubscribes. By
Oh my.
far the worst thing that can ever happen. You'll lose all relationship with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the fear. It's something that you and I talked about, I think the first time that we spoke. Um is is that one soundbite. That one
Yeah.
soundbite, and it's a story that I can tell is it happened to me somewhat recently. It was a listing that I had, and it was an
Mm.
agent. And an agent, I've been in the business for 10 years. And this agent has also been in the business for a while. Met him on, several occasions. He showed up to my listing and he shook my hand and he said, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. I don't think we've ever met before."
Well,
And that just totally lit the fire under me.
yeah.
And I have been on a journey ever since. And I think something important that I'm doing in this is it's the one soundbite. When I'm
Yeah.
sending these emails to people, I want to be the guy that they're like, "Oh, you're the BART guy.
Yeah.
You're the BART guy."
Yeah.
Now I know that it takes 45 minutes to get from the Orinda BART station to the financial district in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I have no shame in being the BART guy. I'm happy to be the BART guy. As
Yeah.
long as that person is like sitting across the table from me and they know who I am, not walking up to my listing and being like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever met before." When I've been in the business for 10 years.
I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real world results, this system replaces chaos of a to do list with a curated set of high impact actions. It's simple: set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking, you drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy, you focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time. Good on you for not dismissing it or taking it personally, but looking like turning it around and what can I do differently? Like, I didn't do something with my business, with my marketing. What can I do? And using it as an opportunity to learn and grow. So hats off for you for that. The quote that I always try to remember is if you don't know me, you're not going to do business with me. So
Absolutely.
it's my job, it's my duty for to get my name out there. No one's going to do that for me. And and then within that, how are you then being associated? Like with what? is what's the identifier?
Absolutely.
Um, and so, in it's if you kind of like sidestep, and I've used this analogy on other podcasts, but if you think about a movie and you think about the character, you tend to know a lot about the character, right? Like James Bond is a it's always an easy one because everybody knows. You know what he drinks, you know his
Yeah.
profession, you know what he drives, you know
Totally.
you know like all these aspects of him, you know his flaws, his hurdles, like you have all this like depth on him. And that's ultimately when we're marketing ourselves, these are the things that we're putting a gentle spotlight on. In those emails, I just got one today. It's like, "Hey, how are you? Blah blah blah," and it's like you waste all that copy with like stuff that like, "Hey, how are you?" That's what you wrote in fourth grade.
Right.
Like that's terrible. You don't ever. If I'm gonna text my best friend, I don't open the text with, "Hey, how are you?"
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, "Hey, man, XYZ."
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like, uh, I think, when you're doing hyper personal things, talk to people like you already personally know them. Go first with the relationship. Be like on this different level, and then to your point, tack on those things.
And make them feel like you're sending the email only to them.
Yes.
That's something that I found very kind of fun in this experience is I do feel like some people think that I'm only sending it to them. They're like, "Hey, thank you so much for reaching out. This is great information."
Yeah.
Um, another piece that I did initially, and it totally was not a great soundbite was, and this is something that you've mentioned before in some of your prior podcasts,
Oh,
is
no, I'm sorry if I offended anybody or you.
no, it wasn't offensive, but it's eye-opening. I led with, "I'll pay you a good referral fee."
Mm.
And that was my soundbite, and I was like, "This is so good. People are gonna dig this. They're gonna get a 35% referral fee." And and actually, the last email that I sent, I do in the bottom of every email I say, "And I will pay you X amount of referral fee." And you're like, "Hey, Blake, take that out of the email. Put something in there that's actually gonna be like, why should I work with you?"
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think, uh, at the end of the day, I have a client who's moving to insert any area. My obligation at that moment is to find the best person to help facilitate that transaction so they can achieve their goals,
mhm,
not
mhm.
mine.
Right.
And so if I'm just chasing money, the whole thing is structured wrong from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And the agent doing it, my personal opinion is, I think if you're not great at sales, the first thing you do is you discount your price,
Yeah. Yeah.
because otherwise you're strong at articulating value and negotiating, right?
Right. Right.
Right. Like Rolex doesn't ever have a 50% off sale ever.
Yeah.
They know their value, they know their pricing structure, period. It's a non-debatable. And so
People
that
say
always just drives me crazy. But I would personally, I mean, I'm fine if somebody wants to jump in and like argue this, but I think if I were to receive an email that said, if I got 2 emails, right? One from agent A that says, "Hey, I'll give you a 45% referral." I have 0 context of you. I don't know if you're any good or not. I don't know if you're even gonna finish the deal. So I'm
right.
getting, like, nothing anyways. And then the other person who doesn't say that, but then there's a quote at the bottom, and it's from an agent in my market who I know, social proof,
Right.
super important, and it says, uh, Blake is, outstanding referral partner, would trust him to help my family members again.
Mhm.
John Smith, San Francisco agent.
Right.
That to me is worth 1,000 times more its weight in gold than that discount rate that somebody's somebody's trying to pitch me because there's so much verifiable social proof in that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and that's the part that just drives me totally bonkers, and I just loathe when people do that. And I mean, and I cringe when the subject line is, opens with like 40% referral. I'm like, oh, that's just such a bad frame right out of the gate. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
It's
Like,
such yeah, right out of the gate, it's just like, yeah, it's not
but think about what that's communicating to me, and I'm sending you a buyer. How confident am I as the agent sending you my best friend who wants to buy an investment property, and you're paying a 40%? How confident am I in your negotiating skills right out of the gate? Like,
yeah.
what is that telling me right out of the gate? No, I'm not saying don't pay it. Sure, you can pay it. I'm just saying don't use that as your positioning, like your pitch. I don't think it's the right thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just me.
no, I agree. I absolutely agree. Let me ask you this, Sean.
Yeah.
When you are looking at somebody, let's just hypothetically say you're referring a friend of yours to an agent in LA.
Yeah.
What are you doing to find that agent in LA? Like, how do you find the referral partner?
Oh man. We probably shouldn't use LA because I have my lineup of agents in LA like ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Let's
Um,
get somewhere absolutely crazy.
Wisconsin, where like I don't necessarily have like some random town in Wisconsin. Um, so I look at what price point are they buyers or sellers? I look at what price point are they in?
Mhm.
And then I don't necessarily want to find the agent who's done the most sales, but I want to see somebody who's comfortable and like they're proficient in that price point,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then I want to know who they're going to be working with, because there's a lot of teams out there where you just get shuttled around to the lowest common denominator, and
Right.
again, my fiduciary obligation to that client, even though we're not under contract, is for them to have a great experience. So I want to know who specifically
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
gonna be their Sherpa through the whole experience.
Mhm.
And then I want social proof. Like I want to know some of their experiences. What I like to ask people is, tell me about a recent difficult transaction you had and what
Mhm.
you did to resolve it. Because
Wow.
I want to understand, how do you think about the process?
Mhm.
Or I want to hear, are you blaming other people? Are you taking ownership? I want to hear if you just took charge and solved the problem. Like, oh, there was a discrepancy with blah blah blah, and the sellers weren't going to pay. The transaction was going to stall, so I just paid the $500 and kept everybody happy. It's like, so I find with that question, you get a lot of nuance you extract so much out of that person, just by letting them talk.
Yeah.
And just give them little cues of like, "Oh, tell me more about that," and they'll just keep unraveling, and so you can figure out really quick if somebody is solid. And then I think the last thing, which is probably the most important part, is I more or less memorized the DISC personality test,
Wow.
so I can kind of quickly figure out if you're a dominant D, I, S, or a C.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying to then figure out my clients, are they a D, I, S, or a C?
Mhm.
And are your true personalities gonna be compatible? Because at the end of the day, if my client isn't happy and isn't going to go to the finish line with you, then this is all for nothing. And so I would say those are the 3 big pieces I'm I'm kind of looking at when I'm trying to find that right person.
Yeah,
But
that's
I wanna preface with, this podcast has given me a massive advantage, massive,
mhm.
because I get to sit with people. I've sat with probably a half dozen agents from LA, so I know from an hour of conversation, I know your personality. I know the way you think about business. I know how you think about clients. So if I have a client who wants to buy a $5 million property and it's in a certain pocket of LA, I'm like, hey, Nathaniel, like, here's the person, is this going to be a good fit with you? And so I already know who I'm going to start calling to
Mhm.
get the ball rolling. Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show.
Let's go back to Wisconsin,
Yeah.
where you don't know an agent. So, and that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And that's got my my mind spinning. So when somebody calls me the next time, I have my stories to tell. Um,
Yeah, and I'll pause you really quick. I think it's really important if you look at the most sold books in the world, Bibles,
Mhm.
the stories are told in parables. And so I think it's always really important to never tell a story without a point and never make a point without a story.
Mhm.
And so if an agent is calling to interview you and they say, "Do you work in this price point?" Don't just say yes. Give them a really quick, succinct story about you working in that market, because similar to you being 15 minutes from the bar, it's it's much easier for our brains are we're wired for stories. It's much easier for me to retain that when I hang up with, oh, Blake's the BART guy. Like, it's way easier for me to retain that than one of your stats, or something that it's not linked to anything else.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. It's funny you say that because the house that I bought in Orinda last year, I bought it from a developer, um,
Mm,
and I was having many conversations with him, and he's like, "Well, do you do business in the La Miranda area?" And my the answer that I gave, and I kick myself so much for this. I all I said was, "Yes, I do," and I didn't go like deeper into like what about La Miranda do I know, or like what houses have I sold here? I just
mm,
said yes, I do. And I walked away from that and I'm like, what confidence did I give him that if he calls me on the next house that he's gonna sell, that I'm his guy? I gave
yeah.
him no confidence. All I said was yes, I do, and it's just driving me absolutely. I think about it on a constant. Like that was such. I dropped the ball so much. All I had to do is give him a few better stats, and he probably would have called me on as the next one. But I was just the yes, I do guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also appreciate that you ponder on that, and
Yeah,
now your problems love it. So, do you work in La Miranda?
La Miranda. I
La
do.
Miranda?
I do work in La Miranda, and if you didn't know this, Sean, I live 5 minutes from a BART station. And well, my fiance actually, she works in San Francisco.
Huh.
She hates me telling this story. And she's always like, Blake, this isn't true. I always tell people that it's 30 minutes from door to door. It's really not 30 minutes door to door. It's 5 minutes to the BART station. You get on BART, you're in San Francisco in 45 minutes. Not only are you not driving, you get to sit on a BART train for 45 minutes. You get to filter your emails. You get to start work. Then you get into the office and get into the nitty gritty.
Mm. That's actually pretty quick. Like,
It is quick.
in sitting on, like, you're just kind of like sitting and starting your day. You can listen to an audiobook or do whatever. But which is kind of funny because it's like way out. If you look at the city, it's like way out. But if
Right.
you live in, say, Alameda, which is just on the other side of the bay,
Hmm.
it's a hour drive plus gas, insurance, tolls.
Well, that's the thing. It's so, I mean, there's just such a great story to tell about. the La Miranda area is the BART thing is so convenient.
Yeah.
We're 10 minutes from Oakland, the Rock Ridge, Temescal, just like an
Yeah.
incredible area. Our hiking is fantastic here. Um, I mean, BART, you're paying $12 one way. So let's say it's $24. If Nicole was to go into the office tomorrow and she were to drive, she would have to pay for gas, which
Yeah.
we all know gas is expensive right now. She would have to pay the toll.
Dude, gas is crazy right now.
Oh my gosh, that's another story for another day. But paying the toll, and these tech companies don't really pay for their employees' parking.
No.
Parking's
It,
not
it's
super convenient, and it's like $25 a day.
yeah, it's 25 bucks minimum for parking downtown.
Min-
Minimum.
So you're paying $24 to go sit on BART. You don't have to worry about traffic.
Yeah.
You always know you're gonna get to the office. I mean,
Yeah.
there's towns where BART is, has issues, but that's far and few between. So it's just like it's a great it's a great location to be in. It's just
Yeah.
like it's not a lost gem, but it's I think just more people need to realize that like you can get if you're looking at a $2 million house in San Francisco, what are you getting?
Right now you're at 2 million, you're getting a 2 bedroom, 2 bath with a postage stamp backyard.
Right. And so out here, you're getting a 3,000 square foot house with a quarter of an acre lot.
Crazy. Totally different. And
It's
it's a different, totally different lifestyle and pace and the whole 9 yards. And the
totally,
city is still right there.
totally. And obviously San Francisco is a fantastic place to live. And we number one was San Francisco when we were looking, and then we shifted to out here because it's more convenient for me. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nicole. Um, but it's just a totally different lifestyle, and it's fantastic, and you can get so much. And I say this all the time: we got too much house, too much yard, and that's a great problem to
That's
have.
a good that is a very good problem. Yeah, and again, to step back and relate it to agents who are listening, every market has a feeder market. Either people are going in or out of that area for one reason or another. And your brokerages, your manager, especially if they're signing off on referrals, they know where stuff is coming and going. The other thing you can look at are you can go to U-Haul and see where trucks are coming in and out of. Um,
Mm,
and then you can even go to like Redfin as an option where
mhm,
you can type in your zip code and see where people are moving in and out of. So there's easy ways to do research. And then what you did is then you go after if you see that people are moving from San Francisco to Orinda and or wherever the specific area you're in, Sacramento or the South Bay or Marin, wherever it may be, you can then target specifically that area. And simultaneously, it not only works with building your referral partners, but you can also do it if you're then targeting, if you're doing, let's say, for example, in San Francisco, if I have a 1 bedroom, it's probably going to be a pied a terre for usually we say see South Bay buyers coming up to look at those properties. So then I can do targeted marketing towards that group. And then I can do a layered marketing towards a referral partner in that area. And so then I can basically hit it from two different planes. And I think again, when it comes to marketing and you're marketing to agents, I think a couple things should happen. I think one, you should have like a relationship like you and I have
mhm.
where, hey, do you have feedback on this? And
Yeah.
you have somebody who's objective, who's looking at it, receiving it and being like, don't do that. Like add this or tweak this because you want a friend to collaborate to make it and help you get better at what you're doing and don't just rely on AI because it doesn't it I'm telling you just don't rely on it fully is phone a friend and just be like, hey, take a look at this. What would you change or what's not landing? I think you should always do that, but before you even do that is send it to one of your dummy accounts and
Mhm.
then look and sit. in the seat of the agent receiving it and evaluate it from their perspective and be like, ask yourself, would I click on this subject line? Click on it. What's memorable? What do my eyes see first? Would I read this 6-page rambling screed about nothing? Or should I, like, tone it down? Simultaneously, one thing that you did that I really like, and we haven't talked about at all, is the platform in which you're sending it. You didn't do it through a mass newsletter. You
Mhm.
send it so it looks like it came personally from your email. It looks like you hand curated it for me,
Right.
not 50 other agents. And I think that's a really important nuance also.
Yeah, it's a incredibly important nuance. And I think going back to something you said, and I think this is very important for people to hear, and something with the two emails that I've sent you, both times you're like, "Hey, Blake, I hope you don't mind this feedback that I'm giving you." And when you give me that feedback, I take that so to heart, and I'm like, absolutely, please give me any and all of the feedback that you can give me.
Yeah.
And listening, hearing that, because that's coming from somebody that is getting these emails on a
Right.
daily basis. And listening to that and taking that
Yeah.
and adapting that is so important. And hopefully anybody that's listening here does have somebody on that other end that's giving them that feedback, because that's probably the most valuable feedback you can possibly get.
And I think, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, like, hypothetically, let's say I had like a $4 million listing and I got a bunch of photos and some copy, and I went to Facebook and I said, "Hey all, I have a new listing that's coming out on Friday. I would love your feedback on the copy, or which of these 3 photos would you put as the very first photo?"
Mm.
You're kind of wanting feedback,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? But you're really sub-communicating, "Hey, look at this awesome property I have coming up."
Yeah.
Right? But you're doing it in a way where it doesn't say, "Hey, I have this awesome property. Look at me. It's awesome. I'm great." You're saying, "Hey guys, I need help. Which of these 3 photos is your favorite for me to use as the cover photo?" And then you wait a few days and you're like, "Hey, repost it. This one was the winner. Thanks for everybody who voted. Can't wait for you to see the property on Sunday at the first open." And you just got 3, 'cause then you're gonna be able to post it on Sunday, like, "Hey, I'm so happy to showcase this." You just got 3 ways to communicate the same listing out without doing a sales pitch, if that makes sense.
Totally. That's genius. And then it gives people the opportunity to be like, they had skin in the game.
They had skin in the game. Like, or I mean, you can do it with, like, "Hey, I'm sending out an email. Here's 2 subject lines. Which one's your favorite?"
Yeah.
And you're, like, using these people as a beta test.
Right.
Or you can go deeper on that. Here are 3 subject lines I came up with. I can't decide which one's the best. It's going to my referral partners in San Francisco,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What are you sub-communicating to all of your past clients who follow you? You have referral partners in San Francisco. So you're covertly getting in front of them and marketing the same thing. So again, I think if we're just creative, we step back, we humanize it, we stop trying to just pitch our open house the same way. We think a little bit outside of the box. There's so many ways to do it. I recently, I don't know if I shared this with you, but Susie Adamson, who's an amazing coach, her and I worked on the Ace Your Day deck,
Oh, nice. Love
which
that.
is it's a deck of 52 cards, and each card is designed to be done in 15 minutes. So your girlfriend would be able to do 3 on the train when she decides to get into real estate.
Yeah.
But we actually I beta tested the whole thing. Once we created the designs, I gave it to a whole bunch of agents that I know and got feedback on the back cover design. Then we got people to talk about the color combinations. And all while we're talking about the deck. Oh, tell me more about this deck though. And you're like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, I will, but later. And you're just kind of like, building in these layers.
Hmm.
Um, and to your point, when people start having skin in the game, it changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. Relatably, there's these two agents in our office that have been in the business for a decent amount of time, and they just combined forces.
Mm,
And when they did so, they kind of, drip some things. One of the things that they did that I think was super cool is they were trying to figure out their team name.
mm,
And so what they did was they put it on Instagram, and they had people vote for the, I think they give three options. And then they took that and they then obviously created their team name based off of the most popular.
yep,
And I thought that was super cool and exciting because once they finally announced it and the name that they chose, I voted for that name and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I feel so good about this because
yeah,
I had skin in the game with this. I
yeah,
hope you guys choose it." Whether, they took that to heart or not, and it was just a publicity thing, I don't
yeah.
know. But when I saw them announce their name, I was like, "This is so cool," and it really brought me more excitement than them just being like, "Hey guys, we're this team."
Right. Right. And then they were able to actually get two marketing pieces out of the same thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like, "Hey, vote on this. Hey, everybody voted. Thanks so much. Here's the name we went with." And then the third one can be, "We actually have 1 seat to fill.
yeah, yeah,
Like, let us know if you're interested." And then it's like
exactly.
now it's parlayed into a recruitment.
Yeah.
And again, it's, the open rate, as you shared, like 60% is really high, but the engagement rate is what you're really going after. And
Mhm.
anybody could have looked at the email and said, oh, cool, they got a new name. They got a 90% open rate. But I guarantee you that one that they said, like, which of these three names, their click through, the engagement was through the roof.
Tremendous,
And
tremendous.
it's not specific for the audience. You
Mm.
can be a friend, you could be a stranger, you could be a colleague. Anybody can vote, anybody can engage, and that's ultimately what you're going after. Is you like that's the clicks.
What's
Funny enough, one of my best performing subject lines ever is, ready for this?
yes?
Small favor.
Oh, interesting.
And that's the email I send to my clients when we ask for a review. And it's subject line, small favor. Hey, really great working with you. Had such a wonderful experience. Hope you're loving the home. Blah, blah.
Hmm.
When you have 2 minutes, would you mind writing a review? Here are the links.
Fantastic.
And
And
it's,
I bet you get a review every time.
yeah, usually if you don't get a review, you get a response like, hey, swamped at work this week. I will get to it next week. Promise. Like, you were great to work with. Or like, you just get some sort of like there's a quick engagement,
Mhm,
which is also great.
mhm.
And it gives you another opportunity to, like, 2 weeks go by, like, "Hey, I know you're super busy, just wanted to float this to the top."
Right, right.
Um, yeah, I again, I think at the end of the day, we can't be lazy and just take the easy path with marketing. It's, push yourself,
Mhm, mhm.
think about the person on the other side of, like, what is it they actually want, need, what how can I contribute to them? Like, it's gotta be something. And not for nothing, but, like, I've sent a whole bunch of crap emails through my years too.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned shitty subject lines or really bad copy, too many links. Like, it's they're, mini experiments of, like, try these things and see what happens.
Yeah. It's interesting too. It's, obviously everybody wants to be given something, so it's a give. And it's something as simple as just, like, giving people information. That's a give. Giving people the knowledge when they're talking to their clients in San Francisco that are maybe getting priced out. Like, "Hey, I know that you could go to La Miranda and this is your BART ride.
Yeah.
It's a give. Um,
Yeah.
something that I want to go back to, and I apologize going back to this, but it's to our conversation about where you find your referrals. Um, I'm very curious because I want to know for my own personal self when you are you finding your agent, are you going on like compass.com? Are you putting into AI, like give me the best agents in this area? Are you going on Google? Are you going on Instagram? Where is it that you're finding these people?
That's a great question. So I think AI is really dangerous right now because, it's kind of like when your client says, "What's the best neighborhood?" And you're like, "Well," or "What's a safe neighborhood?" You're like, those are subjective words, right?
Hmm.
My best is not your best. And
Sure.
so with AI, it's like, how are you defining best? What's best mean? And so I try to avoid those words. So
Hmm.
um, if I'm looking, again, if I'm looking for somewhere in a market that I don't know, or I don't have like a brokerage connection there,
Hmm.
uh, there's different layers. So let's say it's in a market where there's our brokerage, but
Hmm.
I don't have a connection.
Hmm.
Very low probability. What I would do is call that manager, the sales manager,
Hmm.
and be like, "Hey, I'm Sean. I'm in San Francisco. I have a client at this price point. They're relocating. They're going to be there in 2 months. They're in tech. One's an engineer, very logical, very detailed. Um, and I would kind of like go through that, and then I would say the neighborhoods they're looking in are here, the price points here. Who are the 3 agents you feel would be the absolute best fit for me to talk to?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that manager should have a real direct pulse on all of their players. And then I would call each of those people and I would have a conversation with them. In the back of my mind is the way that I think of it is I'm interviewing these people for my client
Hmm.
and who's going to be the best person for them. And then I would send them an email and say, "Hey, I interviewed these 3 people.
Hmm.
Here were the questions I asked. Here was like a summary of the conversation. Here's my in order, my top 3 picks. Let me know when you're ready for me to make the introduction."
Got
And
it.
I would structure it that way and I would really take the time. If I don't have a brokerage there and I don't really know anybody, like maybe I called you and you're like, "Yeah, you know what? It's a little bit outside of my area. I'm not your guy, but I've worked with so and so. They're
Mm-hmm.
great. Their style's very much like mine. Like I would recommend them." So I know you, I understand where you work, you'd be a good fit. And so I'm gonna take that advisement and kind of leapfrog to that person. Um, I have an inner circle group mastermind of pretty prolific agents all over the US. I usually just text them.
Hmm.
If it's a weird, again, the same thing. I have a client who's buyer or seller in this price point. Like they already live there, they're relocating. Like, what's kind of a high level backstory? Who would be the best fit? And then I would kind of wait for a couple names to pop up. Somebody always has somebody. And then I would sometimes I called that like let's say for example, I volleyed it to the group. You told me there was this agent that I should talk to. I would call you first and say, "Why do you feel that agent would be the best? Have you worked with them?"
Hmm.
Like, "No, I haven't worked with them. I see their name all over social." I'd be like, pass. Like, not my person." Right? Because I don't want a fan. I don't want a cheerleader. And then I would call the next agent and be like, "Hey, Andy, you recommended so and so." Yeah, we sent him a referral 2 months ago. Awesome dude, very communicative. Kept communicating back with me, communicated with my client. My clients absolutely loved their experience, adored working with them. Highly recommend. Great, I'm calling that person. And so I think it's, you know, I not to be all long-winded about it, but it depends on how and where they're coming from. If I have an established relationship with that person, and then ultimately, again, who's gonna make that client the star of the show and help them get to their goal
Mhm.
is the bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, I think important for people to hear. It's being present. So, like, for maybe newer agents, it's getting in front of their sales manager, being engaged in their office, so their sales manager knows who they are, can
Yeah.
speak on them. And it's also, the journey that I'm on right now is when I shook that guy's hand and he didn't know who I was. Um, it's being present in front of agents too. I mean, people think being in front of buyers and sellers is the most important thing, which, obviously that's our bread and butter. That's who we want to be in front of the most. But having great relationships with other agents is also
It's paramount
incredibly important.
for sure.
And so, yeah, that's
Yeah, and 2 quick points is when you asked me how I would approach it, not in any of that did I say, "How much is your rate? What's the referral rate you're willing to pay?" That's not even that's a moot point to me, man. Like, I don't that's it's about fit. Like, everything else it'll figure out itself out in the next round. And then for you to market to your manager, like, I would walk into my manager's office and be like, "Hey, listen, I sent these emails and this is what's been happening. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible. Like, I've been marketing to San Francisco. I'm starting to get my click-through rate is up. Like, I don't know what I'm telling you. I'm just super excited and wanted to share. Like, thanks for listening." And you leave, you're now top of mind. And
yeah,
that referral comes in from San Francisco, you're top of mind. Like, "Oh, call Blake."
right,
Like, that's just the nature of top of mind. Like, that's how it works.
yeah, yeah. And the funny thing you saying that is I have been having these conversations with my manager and talking to her about it, and the excitement that she brings with it,
Yeah.
suggestions that she gives, and just everything that go along with it. It just It this b I mean, everything about it really has just been, like, such a confident boost. Like,
Yeah.
I am a introvert at heart. I'm just very comfortable being an introvert. Um, but doing these things, as simple as it is, and getting these responses has kind of, got me out of my shell a little bit and, like,
It's
given
great.
me the opportunity to, like, not hide behind that introvert
Yeah.
self that I am and get out there. Like, a month ago, sitting here thinking about doing this podcast with you would have been like, absolutely not. But the confidence that I gained, just as simple as like sending these emails and getting these great responses,
Yeah.
it's just so silly. It's so silly, but it's just like so true. Like, just
Yeah.
like the more you put yourself out there, the more you do these things. If you are an introvert, you don't always have to be. You can open up and
Yeah, I mean, maybe this, drains your battery a little bit doing this, but then you'll get to recharge, and at the end of the day, you sent an email for a referral partner, built a friendship with me. You're now sitting on the podcast. Now you have a really cool story to bring back to your manager. You maintain top of mind with her. She knows you're hustling. An opportunity, I guarantee you, like if an opportunity comes up, it's like, "Oh, Blake, he's the go-getter." Like that's or, "Hey, the manager in this market, which is symbiotic to yours, wants to have somebody come in and talk about email campaigns." And you're like, and I immediately thought of you. Like, it's just when you put yourself out there and you do it regularly and consistently, things just start popping up in weird ways. And I love that acknowledge that you're an introvert, but you're like, "You know what? But I'll do it anyways." And you're just going for the ride because, it's like, you just gotta show up. Like, this is your life, it's happening.
you just gotta show up, and that's the thing, is showing up, being present, just doing the little things like going on tour,
Yeah.
going to office meetings, going to the marketing things that the marketing people put together. You don't, I mean, as long as you get, and like a lot of great people say, if you just get one thing
Yeah.
from any opportunity that you put yourself in front of, that's all that matters. Just one thing. One thing can change your life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's true.
It is really true, and I've had so many twists and turns in my life just from, it's like I feel like I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, but to your point, it's like I had to push myself to do those things, to be in that space at that time for that to appear, and I had to recognize it, and I had to say yes. And so it's yeah, that's all work too. Listen, man, this was super fun, and unfortunately, we're at time, but this was really cool. I and thanks for sharing everything that you did, and also for getting the memo to wear the green shirt. Good job.
Yeah. Go, go agreed. Yeah, Sean, thank you so much. I mean, incredible. Love what you're doing, and happy for the friendship now that we've built.
And that's a wrap.